Welcome to Lesson 10. Today, David brings the Ark of the Covenant back to Israel. Now that David had unified the country, he remembered the Ark of the Covenant. Israel had carried it for 40 years in the desert. Moses stood before the Ark and talked to the Lord of hosts, who was enthroned above the cherubim. When they settled in the Promised Land, the Ark and the presence of God resided in their midst. The Philistines captured the ark, put it in Dagon's temple, but his statue fell on his face, bowing to the Lord. They gave up the ark when everywhere they placed it, plagues broke out among their people. The ark then remained at the house of Abinadab in Judah for 20 years. King Saul ignored the ark, but David couldn't. A huge entourage of soldiers and citizens went to retrieve the ark from Abinadab's house. Abinadab tasked his sons Uzzah and Ahio to transport it. They placed it on a new cart, and the procession began, with Ahio leading the oxen and Uzzah walking beside it. David and the house of Israel celebrated by playing musical instruments. When they came to the threshing floor of Nahom, an ox stumbled. The cart swayed, and the ark slid. Instinctively, Uzzah reached out to steady it, but God struck him dead. Filled with anger and fear, David puzzled over why God took Uzzah's life. He stopped the procession, left the ark at the house of Obededom the Gittite, and returned home. 3 months later, he learned God blessed the family where the ark resided. He learned the prescribed method to transport it, then David tried again. Priests carried it on poles, while other priests offered sacrifices. David, wearing a linen ephod, danced mightily before the Lord as they proceeded to Jerusalem. His wife Michal, daughter of Saul, watched from a window. When she saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she despised him. Before they reached the city, men erected a tent to house the ark and sacrificed again. They distributed gifts of cakes made from bread, dates, and raisins to the people. David then blessed all the people. When David returned home, Michal scorned him. "My, how you distinguish yourself today." The king uncovered himself in the eyes of his servants' maids. What a fool! David reminded her God gave him her father's throne, and he had every intention of worshiping exuberantly, even if it upset her. Michal never bore children to the day of her death.